Governor Lamont has painted an optimistic.
I'm not diminishing what we got to do to get through this over the course of the next couple of months.
But cautious picture.
Nor do I want people to panic.
Against a backdrop of a rising infection rate and increased hospitalizations. The illustration, COVID isn't over.
We've probably decided to open up a little earlier than some other states. On the other hand, we've kept our mask mandates in place.
Connecticut has the fourth most new COVID cases in the nation per capita. The Northeast as a whole, a relative hotspot.
It's an important reminder for everybody, even if you're young, the odds of you getting sick or certainly from dying are very, very low. But when you have large numbers of cases in community transmission, young people are ending up in the hospital right now, seriously ill.
Still, the restrictions are loosening. On Friday, amusement parks can open. Outdoor event venues can increase to 50% capacity, while indoor event venues open at 10% capacity.
And that means that spread's going to get worse. That is counterbalanced against our very successful vaccine initiative.
Diving deeper into the data, 131 of 168 towns are now back to red alert status. But there are silver linings, deaths. For as high as Connecticut ranks in new infections, we're in the bottom third in new deaths.
There's good capacity at all of our hospitals. This is not like last April, not to mention December.
It could be because the majority of the new infections are coming from a largely unvaccinated, COVID-fatigued younger population of 20 to 40-year-olds who tend to recover more easily. And speaking of the vaccines, that's good news too. They work. Only 18 infections and 2 deaths in the nursing homes this week.
We've now got over 80% of our seniors 65 and above vaccinated.
Pfizer just announced a phase 3 trial in kids ages 12 to 15 was 100% effective.
That was the best news to wake up to this morning.
And although racial equity disparities continue, overall, Connecticut ranks as the 4th best state in the nation for vaccinating the most people. Connecticut's vaccine supply now at 230,000 first doses alone, with eligibility set to expand to everyone 16 years of age and older on Thursday.
Based on the supply of vaccine that we're anticipating over the next several weeks, we're very confident that everybody who wants to get a vaccine will have the opportunity to get one during the month of April.
So the bottom line, yes, there's reason to be hopeful and optimistic, but there's also reason to be cautious and careful for a while longer until more people get vaccinated and we reach herd immunity. Coming up on the News at 5, you'll see more of my one-on-one interview with the Chief Operating Officer of the state of Connecticut, Josh Jabal. Reporting in Hartford, Matt Karen, Fox 61 News.
We'll look